Tony, good to see you. Let me just give you the floor now because you heard what Jeremy had to say.
Well, Megan, look, this issue is it's about reality TV, and you have to question A&E. If they didn't want the Robertson family to talk about who they are, what they believe, and why they believe it, then they really didn't want reality TV. Look, I would encourage people before they jump to conclusions, and I appreciate you put the quotes up there on the screen. But before they believe the organization of GLAAD that traffics in lies and distortions, they should read the article for themselves. I read it. I think the writer did a pretty good job of capturing the Robertson family. I kind of laughed at it. I think that he was coming from a different perspective, didn't quite understand them, but I thought he did a fair job of capturing the essence of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you the same question that I asked Jeremy, which is, why can't those who are gays or lesbians or who support them voice their objections to this kind of talk and argue against this viewpoint, and, as happened here, ask others like A&E and its sponsors to reject it?
Well, they have every right to do that, and that's what we would argue for, is that we have a fair and free debate. But notice what GLAAD did. GLAAD immediately called for the head of Phil Robertson on a platter. They wanted him removed because they didn't want someone able to speak to this. Look, when you're in a fight, what you do is you go after the biggest guy, and you try to knock him out so the others run. That's what GLAAD does. They go after people who have platforms who will talk about natural marriage or talk about biblical morality, and they try to knock them out and silence them to intimidate others. Look, Jeremy is talking about GLAAD and what their mission is. You realize last year they gave one of their highest awards to a guy named Dan Savage, who has attacked everybody from the Pope down to schoolgirls. I mean, he traffics in some of the most vile conversations, and they're recognizing him with awards. They're not about conversation. They're about demonizing and marginalizing people who hold traditional moral views.
So let me ask you this. How do we get past this, though? Because when there was a way for Phil to say this, I believe in the Bible. I think the Bible objects to homosexuality, so I don't believe in that. And, live and let live, but that's my belief. That you don't hear the GLAAD coming out and, starting fires when people talk like that. But the way he put it, and even though I agree with you, we put the quotes on the board, he didn't specifically link homosexuality and bestiality or homosexuality and terrorism, but boy, it was very close. And the argument on the other side is there's an implicit linkage. And, you heard Jeremy say, I don't want my daughter to be out there reading that thinking, oh my God, my dad's lifestyle is the same as bestiality.
But you have people involved in adultery that are demanding that Phil be fired. Look, the fact is, sexual immorality is sexual immorality, whether it's homosexual, whether it's heterosexual relations outside of marriage, and that was the point he made when he quoted Scripture and expounded upon it later. Look, the reality is, the reason this show is so popular is because they are real. And they have a set of values that is grounded in Scripture, which many people across this country still subscribe to. In fact, they long for people who will not be choked back by political correctness, but simply speak freely. And what I think we're seeing, Megan, is a growing movement, because over the last couple of weeks, we've had Christian bakers who have been forced by judges to participate in same-sex ceremonies, photographers, the same thing. I think people are tired of the bullying that's taken place by organizations like GLAAD. They don't mind them putting their viewpoint out there, but quit trying to silence those who hold to a natural view of marriage and traditional morality.
Understood. Boy, guys, we are a long way from resolving this. That's one thing that's clear. I thank you for being here. I thank Jeremy as well.
Thanks, Megan.
And Merry Christmas to you. Sorry about that.